administrative assistant. Members of the public must register in advance in accordance with the board's bylaws in order to make public comments during the meeting. To register, members of the public must access an online link by which they can find the registration information required by registered public comments must be made at electronic meetings of this board in real time through the GoToMeeting application, either by internet or by phone. Written comments will not be accepted and will not be included in the minutes of this meeting. In accordance with the board's bylaws, no member of the public may address the board unless they have registered to speak or have been called upon by the chair to speak. Accordingly, all members are instructed to disable any audio or video broadcast until and unless the chair has called upon such individual to deliver comments. If a member of the public refuses to disable an audio or video broadcast at the time they want to do so by the chair, then the individual will be permanently banned from the remainder of this meeting. Please disable your audio and video broadcast now. Everyone in attendance at this meeting, including commissioners, staff, and members of the public, are reminded that they must be recognized by the chair in order to address the board. All members of this body in attendance at this meeting are participating electronically. Members are reminded that all voting during this electronic meeting will be conducted by roll call. When motion is on the floor, I will call each member by name in alphabetical order to state their vote individually until all members are polled. I have no further comments.
Thank you, Ms. Webb. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking to be with us this evening. I want to stop right here and welcome our two new commissioners, Mr. and Ms. Lewis. And we've got a pretty good agenda here today, so, but if you want to just take a couple minutes, just tell you who you are and something like that, kind of introduce yourself so the folks that's here and aren't familiar with you can become familiar with you. So, Mr. Lewis, you want to start off?
Yes, I would. Good evening, everyone. Gregory Lewis. I've been a resident of Richmond for 11 years. I moved to Richmond from Atlanta in 2011 to take a position as Senior Vice President for Business Affairs at Virginia Union University. Again, as I said, when I moved here, I moved to the city. I've been in the city the entire time that I'm here, and I'm certainly, it's a privilege and an honor to serve on this board. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Lewis, I just want to say a personal welcome to you. I look forward to having a cup of tea, coffee, or breaking bread with you. I sent you a couple of emails. I thought maybe you had gone off. I thought you may be going off to an island for a while because I sent you a couple of emails. Maybe I got your email wrong. I wanted to get together with you, but maybe we can figure out offline how I can get your phone number and we can get together.
Certainly, I will do that offline.
We should have that. Mr. Elliott, you're still on mute.
Thank you for the introduction, and good evening, everyone. I'm excited to join the RRHA Commission. I am a resident of Richmond for the last 12 years. I moved here after graduating from law school at William & Mary. I was a former Richmond city attorney, moved into private practice doing labor and employment law, and now I serve as general counsel for Virginia Community Healthcare Association and work with our state's federally qualified health centers, which would include in the city, Capillary Health Network, and the Daily Planet. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you all this evening. I'm looking forward to serving, and I've met some of you. I'm looking forward to meeting all the rest of you in person very soon.
Well, thank you to the both of you. This is we have a dynamic here, building staff, and we're doing some great things. And I welcome you and your expertise. This is no, I know, and that's this is not working together to get things done for the constituents that we serve. think the next thing we're supposed to do is the minutes, and I'll entertain a motion about the minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly that our minutes, previous minutes, be accepted. Ms. Williams.
Of course. Commissioner Blunt? Aye. Commissioner Elliott?
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
I think they voting on the minutes.
Commissioner
I
Lewis?
think they voting on the minutes from the previous
Aye.
meeting.
Commissioner Parker?
Aye.
Commissioner Pitchford?
Aye.
And Commissioner Shelton?
Aye.
The vote is unanimous. Motion carries. Minutes approved.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time since we've had a full contingent. It's a good thing. Has anyone signed up for public comment period? I think we have some. This is my understanding.
Yes, Commissioner Johnson, we do have individuals.
Sister Sonia.
Yes.
Who signed up to speak?
Could you call this first speaker, please?
The first speaker is Sparkle Taylor. Miss Taylor? Is Sparkle Taylor on? Okay, the
Ms.
second.
Taylor? Yeah.
Okay, the second speaker is Denise Winfrey. Are you on? Miss Winfrey?
Oh, that's
Okay, the third speaker, Keisha Cummings.
Hi, I'm here. Can you
Hello,
hear
Ms.
me?
Cummings.
Hi, how are you?
Yes,
I just wanted to know before I begin my 3 minutes, are the webcams hidden or is it just my phone? I'm sorry.
No,
I can't hear.
none of the webcams are totally hidden. You may look at your own webcam and turn it on or off on your own.
Okay, so you guys are showing your faces. I just can't
Yes.
see it on my phone. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I can't see it on my phone. Hi, I wish I could. Hi, everyone. My name is Keisha Cummings. I'm the founder of Two Love LLC. I just wanted to ask. I'm sorry. As a parent in the community, as a community advocate, as a citizen of Richmond, I just wanted to share some concerns that I have. I just want to start off for those that don't know me.
how long?
I've been in the community serving residents in RRHA for a number of years. From August to November, we did yoga and mindfulness in the community to address ACEs and the social emotional learning aspect that I think that the children and residents in the community should be addressed. We stopped doing it in December to focus on holiday events, and because it was cold. And so obviously we could not continue to work out there. We did 4 days a week in Hillside, Gilpin, in 2 locations in Mosby, because the recreation centers are closed. I have emailed the new CEO and a residential service coordinator to try to coordinate services so that we are able to continue, as we have residents reaching out to us, and also bring other resources to them that they are not brought to them. I wanted to address the fact that it is my understanding that a police department has come about, and I know that's in the interest of public safety. I am not a police officer. I don't know how long that takes or the planning that takes to create a police department, but I would assume that the same planning could go into actually empowering and providing the residents resources as opposed to providing them a
They just gonna
resource
say that they
that
do
will
provide
come
stuff.
after the
That's all
fact
they gonna say.
to
Nah,
further
yeah, they can hear so.
discontinue
I'm
relationships
glad because of it.
of families or
Don't be-
disconnect families.
You gotta be real.
Well, yeah, man, but we can talk
I
about what's
read
going
about
on.
the
I
need
think you
that
should
some
mention
commissioners felt for
the
the police
You mentioned
officers,
people can
and I
hear you.
believe one of the quotes was, "The kids
what
don't
I'm
come
supposed to say
outside
about the
because they
speed
are
bumps. You said
scared
that you
They
already
need the
for
speed
their
bumps
safety."
and
The
most.
kids don't come outside
and
because there's
That's
everybody
public
for
absolutely
safety,
kids.
nothing to
right?
do. I had
And
a
it's
colleague
kids
that did
that
a
I'm
community day
saying.
in Mosby Court. There were hundreds of residents that came out.
As a matter of fact,
So,
I'm
getting
gonna
back to
go and I'm gonna
public
juice
safety
so I'm going to
doesn't have to
kitchen.
be that
What?
robust in terms
Yeah,
of
and
penalizing the
take this
residents if
call.
you put
Oh, okay,
resources
go ahead.
I'm just saying so you
into
won't
them,
think I'm in your house doing
right? So
anything
let's
because
take
I see how
Mosby,
you
for
was right there.
example. There is a camera, there is a pole that has
Um,
15 cameras. 15 feet away from that is a dilapidated concern is, at the end of the day, um, the commissioners are appointed by city council. And I'm just trying to figure, and the commissioners, I assume, are supposed to hold the staff accountable at RRHA. So when I speak to RRHA, they are telling me that it is a Parks and Rec thing. When I talk to Parks and Rec, they are saying it's RRHA. But it's time for people to stop passing the buck and actually invest in residents. Um, also, I also have a concern in terms of why you guys are still virtual. I encourage you guys to actually, maybe you guys may be one of the only entities that are still virtual, which makes it difficult for residents that want to come speak to you guys. I encourage you to get out there and talk to the residents. Um, I'm just trying to, and I'm always of assistance. But again, I just, the energy that we are using to put into what we call it safety, to incarcerating or criminalizing residents. I just encourage us to actually invest in them.
No, thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Cumming. Hello, Bueller, 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 Bueller.
I'm still there.
Are
I'm
y'all
still
still
here.
there?
Is there any questions?
I got a question. My name is Arch.
They ain't talking to you. They can't hear you.
But how about he got
Commissioner Johnson, you're still on
Mm-mm.
mute.
Listen.
Commissioner Johnson, you would have to unmute yourself.
I got this.
apologize. I'm trying to let this phone not keep ringing. But we're going to direct your concerns to the appropriate staff so that they can be appropriately addressed. Please make sure
that's John's.
that your contact information is there. Who's next on the agenda?
Oh, he taking Hardeman
Okay, the
place
next
right now.
person is Gwendolyn Harris.
Because Commissioner Hardeman, he's the chair. He not there.
Ms. Harris, are you on? Ms. Gwendolyn Harris?
Oh, she from Creighton. I know Gwendolyn.
Okay, the next
Harris,
person.
are you there? Okay.
Okay, the next person is Teaching Else.
Teaching. Oh shoot! Everybody signed up.
Great. Good evening, everyone, and I will be brief. My name is Teaching Pinckney Epps.
She used to be on school
I'm
board.
coming to you in my capacity as a HUD certified housing counselor with the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. We are what our program does is we minimize those barriers to home ownership for these individuals, and we can qualify them. And we have a partnership with a lender.
Audio control.
We do the loan.
Please enter your audio PIN followed by the
What
pound
we
or hash
need is
sign.
agreement from RRHA that these individuals with these housing vouchers, that they will continue to make the payment for the housing voucher. We can take a housing voucher if an individual is qualified to purchase a mortgage at 30 years. If the housing authority will partner with us, we can turn that into a 20-year loan. And that provides an opportunity for the housing authority to then ultimately recycle that voucher. We have permanent home ownership for individuals who have permanent disabilities and aren't going to go to work. We can take we make them eligible for a 20-year loan that we can have it paid off in 10. This is a game changer, folks. It is. And it's an opportunity for RRHA to really show their commitment to improving the lives of
Back on.
the individuals that are currently living in public housing. You know, I'll share with you
I think it might
just my personal thought is I'd like to see all the public housing torn down.
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
And these individuals are provided with an opportunity to become homeowners, to start building wealth for their families. So, having said that, I really hope that each of you commissioners that are present here this evening, that you will impress upon the CEO to take this meeting with me and then to ultimately come back and report as to whether or not there's an opportunity for us to partner. Okay, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or if you all want to put your emails out there, I'm happy to send you some preliminary resident information as well.
Ms. Epps, the CEO, Stephen Esmond, I think my email is public knowledge. You go on our website. If you send me your information, I will respond.
Okay, fantastic. Ms. Jackson has that information. I hope that she'll forward it to you so that you can respond.
I'm green and I would like to get
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Ms. Epps, if I may. Ms. Epps, what did you say the name of your organization is again?
It is the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. Our website is naca.com.
You looking that up?
The information for our HOT PHA program, that's what we call it, is home ownership through public housing authorities. That information can be found on our website.
Southside.
We are hosting for the new year our first face-to-face workshop because everyone is required to attend at least a 4-hour home buyers workshop. Our first workshop is coming up this year in February, on February the 11th. We'll be at the Main Street Library. That workshop starts at 10 and generally is over by 1, no later than 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Ms. Epps?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Epps?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank you. Yes, I can hear you. I just want to thank you for that you came today, and I personally would welcome you to the table. I think
that was the other mistake.
Is committed to seeing what we can do to make it, to do this, and to provide a team effort. So we're going to leave this with him, and I look forward to hearing in the future how we can be of assistance and move this portion of the process again. Thank you so very much.
My privilege. Thank you all.
Who's next on the agenda?
My privilege.
Okay, the next is, I believe that's Coin Thomas.
There sure was a lot of people that signed up and didn't speak.
So Thomas?
Okay, the next person is Daquan Williams.
Shoot, ain't nobody on this joint. You can see everybody that's on. Ain't nobody on there. And no callers.
Daquan Williams on?
No callers and no
Okay.
Next
Tyshawn
time we
Wyatt.
sign up. Next month. Yeah.
Is Tyshawn Wyatt on? Okay, the last person is Alicia Venable.
Good afternoon, board and commissioners. My name is Alicia Venable. I'm born and raised here in Richmond, Virginia. I am a RRHA resident, and I live in Unit 447 in the Senior Citizen unit. Last year we got a webinar to attend the fact that RRHA was putting in an application for to tear down our units. And I haven't heard anything since. What I understand is the application was put in last year. You was looking for an answer in 2023. And then you was looking for us to depart our home in 2024. I've yet to see anything come in my mail about financial literacy for other residents. I don't just speak for myself. I'm an advocate for my community. Financial literacy, home buyer preparations, any type of training to prepare the residents. This is the senior citizen area. No way to prepare the residents for moving out. I haven't seen anything. I've been inquiring about it. I spoke to somebody the other day, and they told me that they had got the developers. Okay, well, you got the developers. What are you doing for the residents? What's the CEO name? The active CEO name?
Stephen S. Smith.
Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've been here 13 years. They used to have programs available, training programs for the residents. They no longer have those that I'm aware of. And so I'm asking as a resident to, see, I'm having to work on my own credit. But there's a lot of residents out here that don't know how to work on their credit, just like they didn't know how to join this webinar. So if this
just like they didn't know how to join this webinar.
And our board meetings, so people can actually attend. You could get more response from the residents. So now where I am is in a crunch because I'm on SSI, and I'm so grateful that the young lady for neighborhood assistant homebuyer program, I really hope that y'all incorporate her service for the residents because I can use
Bill
it myself.
Johnson on mute his stuff.
I need help for learning how to move out once y'all do what y'all do with y'all property. Because I'm on SSI and I'm on a fixed income and I just can't move. So I really hope that y'all incorporate her.
Why he keep on unmuting like he ready to interrupt her? Put your mute back on, Mr. Bill Johnson.
I'd like to see just where I can fit
How you just take your mute off while she talking?
Have this anxiety
keep
and
on
stress
doing
that I have about y'all turn down this apartment I live in.
Like, dang, relax,
That's
bro.
where I am now. I have anxiety and stress. The other residents out here, I don't even know if they're aware of what's going on because they can't get on the web and they can't come and see y'all in person when y'all have y'all meetings. So I just want to stress to you all about the need of the community over here in unit over here on 20th Street, where we need some assistance for learning how to move out of these apartments. Okay, thank you,
Mr. Chair. If I may, for a second, please.
Go ahead.
Miss Venable, I really appreciate you joining, and I hear you speaking from the heart. Myself, as a former CEO, former public housing resident,
there you
myself,
go. He's gonna talk about Jesus now.
And what you're saying is that we,
Jesus,
public housing residents, must be given the tools to learn how to move into homeownership, need training, and the rest. You will hear when later this year, when we do announce a package of security for the residents. The residents have been crying out to have their neighborhood secure because our sons and daughters are dying in the streets.
She didn't even mention that.
Particularly in the big cities.
She was not even talking about no goddamn.
But we know we can't police ourselves out.
What is he talking about?
Like the young lady said. But what we're going to do
Bro, what are you talking about?
Offer a package of hope. What does that mean?
A package.
Training. And also jobs for young people.
Oh, the police job. That's his package. Is like the police. They getting a new police. You know, they're supposed to be bringing their own police.
I want to know exactly what senior RRHA senior. What's your address?
She just told you 20th Street. If you knew your apartments, you know that's Mosby.
I live at 1012 North 20th Street.
How you don't know that's Mosby?
Unit 447. This is the senior area.
How he don't know
when
it say
20th
Street? He don't know that's Mosby.
This is the senior area. Our neighborhood don't have a lot of violence because we have neighborhood watch around here.
Right. We don't have a lot of violence. I'm talking about other shit, bro.
But you find it from around here now, and if we see some, we say some around here. Our neighborhood, the children can play. I asked for a playground about 2 years ago, they never did get the playground out here in the back. So the children will have something to do. So they don't have nothing to do but dig in the trash can, get razor blades, get needles out the trash can, throw trash all around in the back because they don't have anything else.
Yeah, Ms. Venable.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Thank you very much. And we're going to make sure
we
that
totally agree.
Make sure we believe, and what Delegate Quinn told me once, that idle minds are the devil's workshop. And we must
learned
have
that from
our
Dolores McQueen. What is that?
Engaged in doing things. I know our board members are very passionate about that, and you will see that. Angela Fountain, were you listening to the address young lady was saying? You heard?
Yeah, everybody was listening to the address.
Playground there.
You had her say her personal information out here
making
for
sure my
the internet.
staff is being listened and attentive. So
now
thank
I
you,
got
Mr. Venerable, and we'll find an opportunity to come over there to where you live. Thank you.
Mr. Nesmith, can I please ask you a question?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You're asking for the address of where Mrs. Venable lives.
She said 20th
There's
Street.
no playground on Raven Street. It was taken away before you got here. There isn't anything to do, and I know understand that the like you said, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. When we were doing the yoga, it was more so to bring resources.
Idle mind's a devil's playground.
Who would normally not come to the big
niggas ain't got no playground.
Playground where we live at
people were out
on Coda does not look right. It's rusty.
A lot of people signed up to talk today. I don't really know anybody that uses this app as opposed to Zoom. And I can tell you that some of those people that signed up, because I recognize some of the names, were actual residents. And I know that should be encouraged, and it's not. And so I hope as the new CEO that you actually encourage the residents to hear their voice and empower them. But it's such red tape when trying to provide resources to the residents that exist, and I just don't understand why. If RRHA does not want to do it, I don't know why the red tape is present to allow other resources to come in there. Like Mrs. X, I have to bring 3 van loads or 2 van loads of RRHA residents to the library or to Midlothian, to NACA, as opposed to just being allowed to open up the room that you guys have that's not being utilized and have it right there for the community.
That's where did he
right? Go? As opposed to me picking someone up or taking them and providing resources when it could just be provided right there.
See, why are you saying she left and she right there? This thing wrong.
Safety is the issue. And a lot of times, safety or crime occurs because people are in desperation mode, which is caused by deprivation of resources. And it's so many entities that want to provide resources and it is being blocked. I don't understand why.
There's a lot of people in
I understand that you are new.
She lives around
like
the
I
world.
said, I have reached out to you in solidarity to try to help, to connect you in any way possible, to give you some feedback, to introduce you to residents.
Right here to Rod Floyd, that's Councilwoman Ellen Robinson. She the council person over there.
About how her late husband, Donald McEachin, was an environmental activist, and how it directly impacts, and she sees the impact as being a head prosecutor. But in 2023, RRHA was creating a heat desert in Mosby Court. RRHA was creating a heat desert in Mosby
cutting them trees down. Mm-hmm. They was cutting them trees.
And so, if we could put the emphasis, a heat desert is when there's no trees and it's scorching. Like the New York Times reported in Gilpin Court. Gilpin Court is one of the hottest places in the city. So when you cut all the trees down, you create a heat desert. And you know how it is when it's hot outside.
Heat island.
And even if the heat desert wasn't created, Raven Street is a location that even if a building was open, they don't have a building. So time and time again, there are examples of y'all putting like y'all knees on the necks of the residents, and when they react like they cannot breathe, then we say, oh, this is why they need to be policed. And so if a hefty plan can come into public safety is bringing resources in and stopping the deprivation that is causing crime, bringing in the mental health resources that the community needs, bringing in the jobs that the community needs, bringing in the training that community needs, bringing in social emotional learning that community needs, that people are doing, and we have to go over so much red tape to assist the residents. Because it is babies in Mosby Court that at 12 years old, when they say, well, where are we going to go? I said, well, maybe we could open up a recreation center. They didn't even know a recreation center even existed in Mosby. They said, oh, we thought that was a storage facility. The same thing as Hillside. You have a room where you can have 12 computers. The Housewives of Bonnier donated a whole gym to any place in RRHA, and we couldn't accept it because we had nowhere to put it, because it's used as storage as opposed to computers, and it being robust for people to go there.
And they're going to be giving a bunch of money over tonight that could be used for that from the capital fund budget.
I don't know. I would love to meet with you, Mr. Stuckey, anybody on the board.
What can you do to stop it?
The commissioners, again, are appointed by city council.
I want to go to the right thing. You.
So I don't know who's the whole city council.
All of us got to stand together.
But you the man.
You the woman.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm following you.
Nah, I'm following y'all. I'm just doing what you follow what y'all tell.
We know that Mosby
but I'm listening and receptive to your information.
Yeah. To say that we have to stop the checklist stuff.
I'm just
where we're checking boxes off. Oh, we provided them a credit plan. That's empowered them before.
I'm the tip of the spear.
They have nowhere to go.
You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. Let
I'm
them
the
know
tip of
we
the
are
spear.
tearing this
You know what
down.
I'm saying? A spear can have a tip,
something.
a little tip, but it need all of that power behind it. Yeah. I'm just the tip of the spear. That's all I am. All of the power coming from y'all.
After everything is demolished like we did in Creighton. Let's live out love and treat people like humans. Thank you, Mr. Nesmith, for your time.
Thank you very much, and I do appreciate your passion. And I'll probably have Mr. Stucker or someone, or definitely reach out to you. I just want to tell you that I do.
What you want to say?
Feel and appreciate your passion.
About them kids,
That's
they
my
need to know
concern.
that we need kids on
I'm gonna
in
have
all
someone
of Richmond to realize that housing. Them speed bumps is serious because
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
we don't have no gates for the kids.
Ms. Cummings, and to the other residents who have spoken, one, we applaud you for taking this opportunity to bring forth your concern. I think as a board of commissioners, it is enlightening to us, and we want to understand what's going on. My understanding of some of the programs and some of the plans that our newly appointed permanent CEO has will address a number of issues. I think diligent notes were taken. I certainly took them. We are going to attend to these matters, as well as the ongoing efforts of a number of other things that need to be addressed. But from a perspective of a board commissioner, I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Everybody who has spoken, you just can't stop. You've got to stay at the table so that we can address. Have somebody who's passionate and committed to these kinds of issues, and we need to support and help, and we do need to have other organizations come in to lend assistance where we do not. And yes, we do have Wreck-It Parks, and we do have other non-profit organizations that's willing to come in. And I think it's incumbent that we move get these folk at the table. Also, you never hear anything about your RTO again in these issues, and I think they should be a part of this. Ms. Jackson, you still handling the agenda for this?
Okay, Commissioner Johnson, it looks like so it looks like Gwendolyn Harris has joined and she signed up to speak.
Can you bring her back?
Ms. Harris? Ms. Harris, would you like to speak? Ms. Harris?
Chief Craig.
Is you gonna speak?
Ms. Harris, would you still like to speak?
Yes, can you hear me now?
They try to make sure.
Okay, I agree with all the speakers that spoke because I have those same concerns. I just moved from Creighton. I'm on the House Choice voucher. But my concerns go more to
so I try to make
on the financial side. I had some issues with the ledger's accounts, and the questions that I had was the ledger accounts are not being updated to reflect any changes or adjustments and explanations that you need to provide an accurate count. So when you're going back looking at a personal account, I'm gonna give you an example so you can understand where I'm coming from. During the process of my housing choice voucher, there was a balance that was owed for utilities, but I disputed and won it. However, this information was never recorded on my account in the ledger, and so therefore it was still stating that it was unpaid in the system. And if and my question and when I inquired about them, excuse me, I'm sorry, pardon me. Excuse me.
Why is he not
this
muted?
information was not recorded on my account, and the information was never updated in the system. Therefore, when I requested the money that I received from the utilities lawsuit that was applied to utilities be returned to me, the request was denied by management because they didn't see that I had actually won that case and that money should have been returned to me.
Oh,
so the
she
problem
was
with
one
this
of the
is
plaintiffs.
the
On
system
the
itself
lawsuit.
is not accounting
She
for all the
was.
daily activities
She was one
that goes on with
the
the housing
utility
authority.
lawsuit.
The program
Me too.
itself is
No,
not
he wasn't.
capturing things.
was.
So if a credit gets
Your
done,
name on
or
it.
say like I just won a lawsuit, it's not
Yes.
being
Alright,
recorded
let
in
me
the
check. I don't
system.
remember
But
your
therefore,
name.
our accounts
I
are
am
being
not somebody
are not being
new at first.
recorded
I just
accurately.
came over.
It
It's
was
telling that you
Sinclair
owe money when you
Harris.
don't owe, or maybe you don't owe the amount that is
They
actually
gave me
required.
back a little
So I'm
bit of
suggesting
mine.
that we look at exactly what is the scope of what's going on with the housing authority, and then plan a program according to that will incorporate all the adjustments and things. So like when we're doing the security deposit, I did the security deposit. It's nothing in your program that calculates interest on a yearly basis for all tenants. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board to do that, because when I received my check, I was told that the interest rate was only 5% under, but yet I got another statement stating that they only knew about the interest rate from 2015 to the present. So I'm kind of confused. How can you give me a figure of a rate for the past years when this person's saying that they only have documentation and information for only from 2015? So that's another issue that needs to be addressed, and I think this really needs to be addressed. Another thing I have with the housing choice voucher program, when you're deducting the money from your voucher amount, and at one point you take you deduct. They have a worksheet, and you deduct from whatever utilities that you're responsible for. You deduct that amount from that worksheet depending on the size and the type of housing that you choose. But recently my daughter was getting it. She said that they said you have to just deduct $200 for that, for the utilities out of the voucher amount. So I'm trying to decide which one is the correct way. And in the past, when you deducted those amounts from the voucher amount, those funds were passed on to the resident so that the utilities that they're not used to paying for, they will have some money, to help at the beginning of the month to pay for those utilities as another expense that they are incurring. But now we don't get that money anymore. So my question is, why don't we not get that money to residents, and where's that money going? Because we got a voucher for this amount, but we only getting the amount of the rent, and the other part is going somewhere else. And that used to be the part that was coming to the resident, so they can have enough money to be able to pay their utilities. So I was just wondering, where's their money going, and why do they not do that anymore?
That depends on your landlord.
Mr. Chairman, if I
don't think you're allowed to
Mr. Chairman, if I may, please.
I ain't never heard
if you can have the young lady give her information real time right now, and I will have Ms. Kenyatta Green, who's our specialist, reach out to her and answer all her questions.
She talking about when you got a voucher and
can give your information now, real time. Miss Kiana Green, our specialist.
Yeah.
Everything you mentioned, she'll reach out to you and give your information right now.
I'm talking about that remedy.
Okay.
And
wait a minute, hello? Hello?
You can give your information. You can give your contact information right now. Miss Kiana Green will reach out to you personally and answer all those questions.
My name is, you want me to tell you, Gwendolyn Harris?
Gwendolyn Harris. Don't try to cut me
And my phone number?
No, don't tell her not to say her phone number. Why y'all let her say her phone number?
309.
Because this is on the internet for everybody.
24.
Anybody can be seen.
Thank you very much.
It's a
We'll have
public
Ms.
meeting.
Green
Y'all
contact
not
you
supposed
and
to
answer
do
all the
that.
questions.
What's wrong with y'all?
Okay, but can I ask one more question?
They could have just told her.
It's a quick one.
They could have.
Why was the R in RRHA that stood for redevelopment removed from that?
From the logo.
Yeah.
I know it's just
the logo just say RRHA.
So that's another question
she got to explain that.
No, but I can answer it for you. It is still the Richmond redevelopment.
Bro, you wasn't even here when they changed that logo.
It's still the same.
Let Angela answer.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I just see that on outside on the thing on
you
change
that?
It said RHA.
The logo, they changed
that
logo. It just say RHA.
Yeah, the R's are close to each other, and it's kind of hard to see.
They changed their logo.
I'll talk to my
so it's still there?
It don't say RRHA. It say RHA.
Oh, yeah, I seen 3 letters today on the little thing they sent us today.
And that's why it looks like that. But it's still
okay. I was just wondering had y'all took the redevelopment out for the individuals and just focused on the development of the land.
Nah, it's marketing. Okay. I'll talk about marketing first. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Miss Harris, that's more of a shadowing effect, and I think we'll miss.
Okay, because every time I go and I keep looking, and then I see and look like on y'all little scooters that y'all have, I see it's just RHA. That's why I was asking. That's all.
The marketing can be enhanced. There's nothing,
okay.
Nothing there.
Okay, y'all have a good one. Thank you.
Ms. Jackson, has anybody else come back on?
I believe that completes the citizen information period, the citizen comment period.
It just seems like Ms. Venable has one last question before we close out this period.
I wanted to ask about the Yes Energy that keeps coming on my bill every month. We've been in a lawsuit for a while now about being charged for electricity, and it comes on my rent statement every month. And because I'm such a precise person, I like to start seeing my rent statement for the amount of my rent instead of the Yes Energy bill on there, because I'm not supposed to pay electricity due to I brought the information in. I'm 5014. I brought the information into my rent office, and I'm supposed to be exempt from paying electricity.
Great. We'll have, again, if you give your information, Ms. Green, who's our expert in that area, he will reach out to you. You give your
they got to come to the Board of Commissioners meeting to get it done.
Miss Venable?
She already done sent the information in.
My name is Alicia Venable. I'm in Unit 447 at 1012 North 20th Street. I'm a disabled resident. I'm not supposed to pay electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ms. Green will reach out to you.
Thank you.
Reach out.
Can I give you my phone number, Ms. Green?
Yes.
It's 804-661-9369.
Yeah, these people tripping.
Thank you.
Thank you. And does any commissioner have any comments to make before we move on to the next agenda item? Anything you'd like to add? Any comments you'd like to make? Well, Steve, thank you so much, and I've taken the note, able to get back with these folk and give assistance to their concern. Something that needs to come back for a synopsis before us to let us know that y'all have looked at it. It'd be appreciated. So thank you so very much. If all is being cleared, I would move on and turn this over to Stephen so that he can get on the first agenda item.
Yeah, that was a long citizen conference. It's 20
Thank you,
minutes in, they ain't
Mr.
even
Chairman.
started.
The first item on our agenda under CO update is lease enforcement update. We'll give a broad overview of that from Ms. Kenyatta Green.
Good evening, commissioners, staff, and guests. Just really quickly to provide some updates regarding our lease enforcement. As of January 9th, there was a total of approximately 2,030 families with an age receivable balance of $50 or more, which of course is an increase for the month of December of 148 families, and a total balance increase of $50,000, which is now $2.4 million.
2,000 families.
Also, for the month of January, we have,
and it was 180 something last.
For the months of December and January, there were a total of 64 unlawful detainers filed. 20 of those unlawful detainers we were granted judgment and possession. There is a status hearing for 7. 25 were non-suited because the family signed up for a repayment agreement. 5 of the files must be refiled because there was a clerical error, and 7 were dismissed due to full payment being made by the tenant. So once the payment was made, we withdrew the unlawful detainer. And so as of right now, those are the updates that we have for our lease enforcement. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions
Hearing no other questions on that subject, we now will provide an update with respect to 400 East Gray Street. For many on the call know, and those that don't know, we acquired that building, 400 East Gray Street, several weeks ago. East Gray Street, and we were able to luckily evacuate the residents out of that building once we acquired the land, the building from Bank of America and from the landlord. Unfortunately, some of you may have seen on television and other news reports that once we went into took possession of the building, we immediately put in our own private security on the ground. We put assigned a property manager there. There was a lot of unfortunate criminal activity going on in that building. We knew there was some drugs being sold out of there. It was essentially being operated as a homeless shelter. Some people that were staying there were keeping the door open at night so that people could just walk up into the building and go to sleep. The property manager,
everybody knows
that. Property manager, before we acquired the building, said he would come in the mornings and he would see people, bodies there, just sleeping on the floors on several.
Because niggas is homeless.
So it essentially converted it into a homeless shelter.
And now then people have nowhere to live now.
And many others there. We had a meeting once we acquired the building. We had a meeting with all the residents to introduce ourselves as new owners, and that we wanted to do individual assessments of each of the families and individuals that were there, and try to figure out what would be the best next step for them. Because the building itself, based on plain eyesight, you don't need to be an engineer, had lots of infrastructural issues and other hazards.
Do you believe that RRHA went over there
uninhabitable
and did individual assessments on them?
What happened was, long story short,
they don't
a
ever
big
do
water
nothing.
main
They don't care
break
about us.
broke.
One thing they care
Shortly
about
after
is
we
getting
the
that money
residents,
and
we had to
sitting there.
evacuate all the residents
But
out of that
constantly over
building.
there.
We put them safely Christmas Eve into extended stay hotel, America Hotel, where they have been. We essentially rescued them, and Mayor Stoneley helped us with providing food immediately Christmas Eve. And for those of you who don't know, our staff, including myself, left our family Christmas Eve late at night and made sure that we got all those residents out of there and to the hotel, and they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, warm meal the next day. Myself and Desi, one of our vice presidents for real estate, he and I left at 1 a.m. Christmas Eve, and we thought that was more important mission than being home with our families, but we got back. Where are we now? We have been paying the fees for the families that have been staying there. I will let our real estate team give a detailed report on the status of each of those families, 13 families, after we have done the individual assessments and what we're offering them, and the categories in which we're being offering them. And also, I'll just give a quick, Desi's on the call, or Darryl is on the call. We'll give a quick update on the building itself and the infrastructure. Darryl, how do you want to proceed? You want to take both the residents and the building itself? Or you want to sign that out for update?
Depends on how much detail you want.
Not a lot, but let's just give the categories that we're offering to families and how many families we have.
Sure. There are 14 families that we are responsible for relocating. We're almost at 2. I think we're at 2 that we're finishing up the details for one. So 2 will have been relocated. Of the remainder, they have been given the choice of going directly to public housing, finding housing on their own, or going to a relative with assistance from RRHA for those that choose that. And so all of those families are in that process. We will give you an update as to how many families have chosen which option. And we hope to have everybody out of the hotel and into their permanent options
the units
within
is
the next 2 weeks.
Some that's gonna be
As
unfull
far
to
as
be
the
full.
building, we are moving
People
along
moving up
with
in there.
redevelopment of the building. Right now it's being stabilized and buttoned up, so to speak, to find all the issues. It's being assessed for all of its mechanical and structural deficiencies, and we will be moving forward with redevelopment once we have that full report.
Any questions on that subject matter? Hearing no questions on that, we'll continue to provide you
what redevelopment they gonna do on that
information
building?
on
I haven't never
the
heard
choices
of
that those
that building on 4th and
families,
Grace that all the homeless people be in front of that.
They moved it. I mean, they.
RRHA bought that building.
But remember, they put the people out.
RRHA put them out.
Had a real connection
Oh,
to
they
RRHA,
lost the man.
that is,
I seen that on the news.
employees' son was in
They
that
wrong
building,
for that.
and,
I mean, they saying that they, that they paying for the hotel or whatever right now.
Report
Yeah, but still, that lady, it was a lady on there that's wrong.
So,
she needed to get in there to get her stuff. And they told her she couldn't get in there to get her stuff.
That situation. Next item is a community foundation. Many of you who are local to Richmond in the area know of Community Foundation. It is the largest philanthropic foundation, not just in the city, but the region. And I was asked by the present CEO and their top people to give a presentation, to give a pitch. I was told at the beginning that they have about $1 billion in assets. They're one of the largest, I think 20 largest philanthropic foundations in the country, but the number one in the region in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I have to tell you all this. They said, look, we've been hearing a lot from you, people in the street, from people in the business community, from people who are in the affordable housing stakeholders, and we've been hearing a lot about your vision. We want to give RRHA, for the first time ever, and obviously we're the oldest philanthropic foundation in the region. We've never really thought enough of RRHA to say that they had enough the right to a vision that they would want to fund an initiative. So after I put my marketing hat for about an hour and a half, at the end of that marketing pitch, I'm proud to announce, I told the chairman this, Chairman Harden, I'm proud to announce for the first time in that foundation's history, they have agreed, after my sales pitch, that they will allow RRHA to submit what they call impact funding, which can be in the millions for potential investment. And I'm reporting that to you all as your new CEO, that I'm so proud passionately made whatever pitch, and God came and helped me make that pitch. But I'm proud to announce it. So what's the next step? The next step is announcing to all of you we have this unique opportunity. We're going to bring in a grant writer probably next month, and I'm going to figure out, I have 2 impact proposals in my head. I'm going to, once I have an opportunity to get it on paper, then I will share just the concepts with the board. Because I'm pretty sure we all know that there are many, many needs in the community. Just broadly speaking, one of my concepts is going to be resident focus, and the other one is going to be development focus, impact. They're looking for impact, something that's going to be, that's going to fundamentally change something. They're not looking to fund small projects. But what they did say is that I can meet with them. They have a small fund where they fund projects on a month or month-to-month basis. That's small dollar amount funding. And they said if I want to also talk about that, they make those decisions on a rolling basis. I can meet with the deputy director person. I've agreed to do that. But most importantly, I want to put some thought and time for all of us to think how we can potentially get millions of dollars for what they call impact funding. And they have certain categories, and I'll have an opportunity to share all that with you. But I figure that's going to be, I know a lot of commissioners want to weigh in about what categories that we might submit going forward. But I want to share that win at the top of the new year that I brought home, and I'm so happy. I don't have any questions.
Chair, may I is this the time to talk, or let him go ahead on through because of the lateness of the hour?
No, I'm willing to take questions, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have permission, Chair? Oh, okay.
Yes, you have permission to speak, and I feel this leader has declared.
Okay, I'm not gonna take a long time. Okay. I commend you. See, our CEO, our new CEO, I commend you because now I know you're gonna work out the specifics of what is gonna be, what we can think about. But will this also help the corporation, the R, or this doesn't have any? Or they can't use that for the corporation projects that are coming up.
The RDC.
Sure. You mean, are you Commissioner Pitcher? Are you talking about on the Richmond Development Corporation?
Hardeman.
Yes.
Yes, it could be either used for some of the initiatives that we have upcoming on the Richmond Development Corporation, and so the home ownership initiative that we want to do for public housing residents, and for the new commissioners, the 2 new commissioners. What I mean by the Richmond Development Corporation is a wholly owned subsidiary of
FBI,
RRHA,
special agent. This dude a special agent with the FBI. Look.
Launching many of our private sector initiatives, which I'll talk a little bit about once I introduce our new Chief Financial Officer. But yes, Commissioner Pitcher, whatever these dollars, assuming we can come up with a powerful proposal or 2, I think I want to give 2 of them so that at least one of them gets funded. It'll be in the millions. But yes, they could be used for RRHA or the Richmond Development Corporation. To answer your question.
Okay, thank you. I am because I want that corporation strengthened because we were gonna. I know down the line we're gonna need that. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Why does she care about the
I just want to say, Mr. Nesmith, as someone who has just become certified in grant writing and management, that's quite a feat to be able to get the Community Foundation. You're right, it is one of the largest philanthropic ones that has been in Richmond as well as in the region for some time. That's quite a feat. And with you coming on board and, having that meeting already, good job.
I know Chairman Harmon is excited because he considers himself a policy guy. He can't wait to dig in with all kinds of ideas. But at any rate, I'm just proud and happy that I'm, executing on, the reason why all you all brought me in seat. So I want to report on that. Hearing no more questions on that, we'll have a chance to separately talk about that. Mr. Chairman, do you want to say something? Bill Johnson. I guess you're vice chair now since Chairman Harmon has arrived.
You gonna take over, Harmon?
Phyllis, we don't have to ride. You can take over. I'm good.
All right. So it sounds like you got promoted. Okay.
Chairman Harmon.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson, Mr. Desmond. I apologize so much for being late to the meeting. I want to apologize to our new board members, to our staff, to all the board members. That unfortunately is just the nature of the job that I do. Is you never know when something is going to go late to the evening. So with my apologies. I am not sure where we are in the agenda.
So he probably was in the General Assembly.
Please feel free to.
I think he'll lobby.
Sure. Where we were, you recall, Chairman, I talked with you about the opportunity that we had to submit an impact proposal to the Community Foundation for impact funding, potentially in the millions, and that this is the first time that they're giving RRH an opportunity in history to make such a proposal. That's where I was at, and you and I talked about that.
Yes, and I am very excited about that. That is quite the accomplishment. So thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Gilpin RFQ community engagement. So many of you probably remember we went out with a request for qualifications for the redevelopment of Gilpin. I made the decision that while we published it in accordance with the way we traditionally publish things, that for two reasons. One, I thought it needed a bit more, we needed to market it more. And I think more people needed to know that proposal was out there and on the street. And what I didn't want to do is have people say, wow, I never knew that it was out there. What, means by which did you use to market? And probably, well, we used the traditional way in which we normally did. But most important, it did not have something that's fundamental that I've been talking about since I arrived, and I did so in my interview last year, and that is it didn't have the bond financing component in it. And so since it did not have the bond financing component, which is really the piece that's transformative, right, in terms of leveraging private sector dollars, we decided to we're going to pull it back, and we're going to repost
they want people to
put it back out for public again.
The revenue bonds,
and we're going to make sure that everyone knows
bond
about
fees
it. We're going to use some
from the bond financing.
That request proposal is out there.
Because since he came, he want to really start doing more development projects where they can get the fees from developers to, he says to use to help residents, but it also, you can, in the last CEO contract, it went to his salary.
Another thing
the bond fees is like unrestricted money. So they wanted money, they're not telling them what they can do with it.
Repeat that I've said to a bunch of people, and they said amen. It's what their response was, and it all came from Commissioner Johnson. And he said, Mr. Nessman, I'm glad you decided to do that, and you have the legal reason to hold it back and to put it back out, because he said, and I'll quote, I'm tired of people coming into the communities as developers, coming to take something and not giving something back.
Yeah, but
that is, developers make good money at the end of the day.
They don't be making them except RRHA residents, though. Right? That's what they need to be doing.
Not like banks where they have their Community Reinvestment Act requirements to invest dollars in the community. But similar to that. And he said, what we need to do, as he, Mr. Johnson, that we need to have a requirement in that RFQ that there be, that whoever the winning developer is, that they set aside monies to invest in that community. Not on the development side, but on some of the things that you heard some of those people talking about during the comment period, the public comment period, right? Investing in the community. If it's a boys and club, if it's job, if it's training, if it's for mental health, whatever it is, to invest back in the community. And so what I'm going to do is work with our new head of real estate and our other team and marketing to come up with a very simple few sentences. And I think some of the other commissioners can say that even for, I can call him an old guy because I'm getting old. An old guy like Bill Johnson can come up with some good ideas from time to time. And this is a brilliant one. That why don't we say to developers, set aside some dollars and you're going to invest in the community in addition. So that's my report on that.
Tell the developers
Hardeman, and I take any
you have to accept a certain amount of poor people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they giving them money to build apartments and stuff all over the city.
So, Stephen, with the responses that you, well, first and foremost, I'm in agreement. Giving it more dashboard visibility. I think with that, the exposure is going to create an opportunity for a wider opportunity for folks who think they're qualified and want to be able to demonstrate that. With those who actually responded, what happens to them? Or do they have to enter into this new round, or what exactly happened?
That was she just. That was just
great question.
Yeah, but I went yesterday.
Those that did respond, they would resubmit exactly what they did. They wouldn't have to go back to the drawing board. They would resubmit, but they would submit with an additional piece. That is around the bond financing. That is what. That's the only piece that they would have to do. The goal, in my mind, remember we had the biggest bond financing deal in this region's history. It was called the Diamond District, right? That was $2.5 billion, which we had 40% minority ownership, 40% on the concessions and that, right? Now, the fundamentals of Gilpin will not allow us to come out with a $2.5 billion bond financing deal. But we might be able to get too close $1 billion. Who knows? But what I am doing is the group called Loop Capital that put that bond financing deal together out of Chicago, who flew people here, and they had people living on the ground, and they put together the most incredible local activists, community partners. I mean, they actually lived here. They flew people, they just rented out, and they were here.
Activists.
And when that is the reason why that deal was so well received by activists.
Who said that they came and got activists?
They're flying in next month to meet with me, the CEO of them, and to go over the structure they did for the Diamond District deal, and to say, what is possible around bond financing for you.
And coincidentally, the Jackson Place developer was one of those who was instrumental in bringing in Loop Capital, as I understand. I think there's a lot of creativity there, and I would hope we do not table that issue, which has a lot of attention and eyes.
Yes, and it was, in fact, that developer that introduced me to Loop Capital.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Any other questions? Thank you for that update, Mr. Nesmith. I think up next we have Mr. Kelly is going to give us some recommendations on board meetings and structure and how we can be more efficient and effective as a board. Mr. Kelly, before you do that, I did get a message from somebody earlier. I don't know if we have the ability to turn on closed captioning on these meetings. It is something, and I apologize to the public that something that we've not addressed previously. We've been doing this for 2 years now. Virtually, and haven't really thought about that, but I think that there are some folks who might need that. If there is that ability to do it, that would be great, but something we need to think about as we move back to in-person and hybrid meetings as well, to ensure that we are accessible to all of our community. So sorry for that editorial in the middle there. I want to turn it over to Mr. Kelly.
But if I may, Mr. Chairman, you're right about that. I think we've been getting some requests about when the board would go back in person, and the good news is that our new building at 600 East Broad Street, and for the new 2 board members, we've started the process of moving into our new location at 600 East Broad Street. We have the 4th floor and half of the 5th floor. We can expand the other part of the 5th floor if we're expanding in later years. But on the 5th floor, there is the boardroom. It is the most incredible thing you've ever seen. Chairman Hardeman was there when we hosted the Wells Fargo initiative some time ago. But that is where we it's large.
That's
large
where the new headquarters is.
We can be groups, large groups.
Six
But that's
and
where we can have. And someone came on today
right
during the public
beside the
session,
Marriott.
Chairman Hardeman, and asked when we would go public and what that looked like. We also have there the ability
I
to.
guess they wanted a nicer office.
It's a huge screen where if some board members couldn't be in person, or if we wanted to have the public, they could participate via they can be projected in on the big screen. And we've had our IT team there. It's going to give a presentation on Mr. Hardeman for you as chairman to say, these are the ways in which we can leverage technology for the board members. So I'll have our IT, I'll tee it up as a separate issue item next time, Chairman Hardeman. So you as chairman can talk to your board members about that. I do want to say for Mike's going to talk and give a presentation. And I chose Mike to talk about this particular topic because for the new board members who do not know Mike Kelly formerly was the CEO and he ran the Housing Authority. We're so lucky to have him in San Francisco. He was CEO of the Housing Authority in New Orleans. He was CEO of the Housing Authority in Washington, D.C. And he was COO of the largest housing authority in the country in New York City. And many years ago, when then Mayor Bloomberg was the mayor, HUD in Washington, D.C. went to Mayor Bloomberg and said, listen, we need to take over the Philadelphia Housing Authority, and we need someone to run it. And HUD said, we have the perfect person. The perfect person is Mike Kelly. And Mike Kelly then was appointed the interim CEO of the Philadelphia Housing Authority, turned that around. Mike has been a lecturer around the country, and he was in retirement in New Mexico. I've known him for many, many years, and I convinced him to come out of retirement. But he said to me at first, happy wife, happy life. I'm living in New Mexico. I'm not coming. I'll give you a 100-day report you can send to the board like the presidents do. I said, no, I can't do that, Mike. And then obviously we had to talk to his wife, and Mike has agreed he is our COO, and we're so happy. Just by way of context, the deputy secretary at HUD, Marcia Fudge, her number 2, the deputy secretary, Mike gave her first job. That's how old Mike is. And when you look at his hair, it's not gray, it's white. And so I thought that Mike would be the perfect person to talk about this particular project that we have about board meetings, particular, because I'll end with this and give it to Mike, and that is twice last year I went to 2 of our senior staff and I said, listen, I need for you to do X, Y, Z. And 2 of our senior staff told me, well, Mr. Nesmith, I'm going to have to juggle that because I'm also trying to prepare for board meetings. And it's not a good thing, and that's an untenable, that's not a sustainable situation. And so Mike's going to talk a little bit about how we can continue having an active board, but how we can do it in a responsible and effective way. Michael?
Thank you so much, Commissioner, staff, guests. An honor to continue to serve. Yeah, if I could do as a quick backdrop. Stephen mentioned all of the places I was honored to serve. In 3 of those, New Orleans, D.C., and in Philadelphia, all 3 had the distinction of being troubled agencies, large housing authorities that were troubled. And a lot of consideration was put into best practices of governance with the fiduciary and the policy responsibilities of the board, and what are the best structural ways to approach it. Looking at the history of Richmond, it's clear that the existing structure was one that was out of the necessity of responding to the revolving chairs of CEOs. That the instability at the top required additional investment and additional time to the form of committees and the form of other kind of reporting requirements, just to maintain the board's responsibilities as the official and policy side. Well, I hope you can agree that we now have a very strong chief executive officer and strong candidates across the board. Fabio, for example, has national reputation and is somebody that's going to provide stability and comfort to us all on financial matters in the future. We now have we've built up our development practices, and we're working with the TAG associates to work with Kenyatta and that crew to muscle up the operations. There's a lot of good things going on. However, Steve mentioned it just in passing, that there's currently a situation where staff is now torn between providing reporting requirements for a committee meeting rather than doing whatever work that they need to be doing in real time. I actually have a suggested proposal for your consideration to be discussed, and hopefully we can come back in a month or so and convert it into a written proposal that can be voted upon. But it goes something like this: that we would continue to have our monthly board meetings, like we're having today, to look at the business of the agency. However, for the current committee structures, as opposed to monthly, we would go to a quarterly committee meeting structure, with the understanding of the exceptions. If there are items that need to come before the board, that need to go through committee, particularly in terms of development or some items that require board approval for contracting, etc., that those would actually go through independent of the quarterly committee meeting structure. That those would come through as needed. I'm also recommending that there be a monthly report through the Chief Executive Officer's report of those items that are relevant to the various committee and the committee chairs. So the full board would get on a monthly basis a report on what are those types of activities without necessarily having to meet as a board or as a committee for that period of time. This would be one that we'd be looking at, the staging of it and the staggering of it, and the details are still to be worked out. What's being presented this evening is just for your consideration to consider this and to allow the CEO and the executive team to start to pull together a proposal that reflects this type of review of our board committee structure and the timing of how much they meet, and for us to come back to you with a more specific recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say one other thing, is that again, to highlight what Mike said, is at each monthly board meeting, as we have now, we have committee updates. Committee would still be able to report on committee activities. Again, if there are contracts that need to be voted on, then that particular relevant committee you would have, notwithstanding quarterly meetings, you would have a subcommittee, or not subcommittee, you would have a committee meeting to vote on those matters so they get brought to the floor for committee. If it's on the real estate side, same thing. If there's a development or real estate related thing, you would do the same. But currently what we have is, most boards meet on a quarterly basis. We're not suggesting that you are ready for that, to assume a traditional role that boards do. But to continue when we don't have the staff, we're struggling to even staff with the committees now. But they have like 72 meetings per year. It is fundamentally, and it came out of the TAG assessment as well, it is fundamentally part of the disorganization of the proper operation of the organization. I just respectfully hope that we can think about this going forward, and to think about a much more efficient and effective way of doing it. And this is coming from the staff. It's not me. It's coming out of a TAG. And I think under Sheila Hill Christian, and by the way, I talked with some of the board members that I perfectly understand why again, as Mike said, when there was volatility at the top, we were losing expertise, that there was this need for the board to be more involved to ensure the stability of the organization. But I think now we have a new team. But before anyone comments, I just want to do one simple thing I forgot. Please let me introduce to you all really quickly when you comment, and this goes with Fabio Spino, before anyone comments on Mike's proposal. Fabio, I want you just to, Fabio is our new Chief Executive Officer, and he starts Thursday of next week. We're lucky to get Fabio, a guy who understands balance sheets, finance. We're so lucky to get him. His wife, and they're from the Richmond area, and he's coming from Oklahoma, and his wife said, we've got to go home, back to parents, and he's like a smart husband. He said, I will do what you tell me to do. And so that's why they're here. And of course, he didn't know anyone at Dominion Energy to become CFO there. We're lucky to have him, and we're so happy. I'm happy Fabio will say a few words about himself, and then we'll go back to the comment about Mike's proposal, just to show you the expertise we have on board. And Fabio, and on the bond financing side, Fabio has put together these housing bond financing packages we're going to do. Fabio has put together the packages for tax increment financing bond revenue packages. And the added benefit, Fabio also has relationships with the rating agencies on Wall Street, the folks that are going to rate these things, and to be able to spur the kind of economic dollars we need to do things. So I give you to Fabio, say a few words about yourself, introduce yourself, and then we'll go back to Mike, reactions to Mike's proposal.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nesmith. Thank you, commissioners, staff, and guests for the opportunity to serve the Housing Authority. As Mr. Nesmith mentioned, I'm currently in Oklahoma. I'll have boots on the ground next week in Virginia. I have been the executive vice president, CFO of another public organization where we have been, we're able to do new revenue bond financing as well as
they really about to turn up.
Investing
they about to turn up.
Getting tax TIF projects off the ground and allowing us to do some TIF financing and helping folks,
they need to do some TIF projects.
I've done several restructurings of
that
benefit
public housing. That's what I was saying. Like when they was trying to do the Navy Hill thing and build a new Coliseum. I was like, the money, they should use it to rebuild Gilpin. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Mr. Spino. We're excited to have you. This is a great executive team that Stephen has put together. So I really appreciate it. I got the chance to talk with Mr. Spino last week and really enjoyed the conversation. I know all of you all will enjoy getting to know him as well. Any comments to the proposal that Mr. Kelly has?
Because I'm meeting my counselor at 7. I'm in my therapist.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking.
Commissioner Jackson first.
Remember.
I was hoping Commissioner Jackson, then we'll move to Commissioner Johnson. That's all right.
Mr. Kelly, thank you. I appreciate bringing creative ideas so that we can become more of an efficient organization. One thing that I personally, that comes to mind immediately is the flow of communication. As I spoke with Chairman Hardiman about a week or so ago, I was concerned about a couple issues and the lack of communication as it pertains to the board. I know that, we will sometimes talk amongst ourselves, but I think long story short, I would be interested in understanding how we improve our communication if we're moving our committees to that of a quarterly basis. I think there's a lot of information that could potentially be lost.
Quarterly?
A lot of the responsibilities and fiduciary duties of the board that
I didn't know that's what was
we must
being
adhere
discussed.
to. I just want to understand how this informs us better. I understand it's 7 o'clock. We've been on the phone. Been here for a long time, and those committees they can be taxing sometimes. I don't attend all of them, but I would be interested in understanding how we better communicate, and then in the consideration as we look at this, would this be a phased approach with some committees? Because obviously the real estate committee, I think, has a need to meet on more of a consistent basis, aside from a quarterly basis. I'm finding myself as I've kind of sat back and I'm observing the nature of how we operate. I just want to make certain that I understand what's going on so that I can fulfill my due as best as possible. And that would be my only concern and interest in how we do.
Well, two excellent points. Again, I think on that communication point, on the communication point, I think really we really do have an opportunity to provide some kind of standard reporting that touches on the ongoing issues that the committees are dealing with, and just updating whatever those ongoing issues. And then obviously new issues would come up. Looking and also in the moving forward to the CEO's thoughts and recommendations of having larger strategic plan goals, and that we as an agency on a regular basis communicate to the board our progress toward meeting those goals, go in the form of written reports. So I know they're not really
talking about making committee meetings quarterly. They tripping.
Tools.
Why?
While in the same breath allowing for staff to have.
It's not about just staff. It's about the public.
Do without the requirement of monthly committee meetings.
See,
and you're right,
they don't
realize others. Again, there are
it's
some
a public asset. It's not yours.
Appropriate for this.
It belongs to everybody. Like you can't. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be able to see what's going on. We should be able to see what's going on every day.
Obtain an updated organization.
Like it's our tax money. Like we voting on it. You know, like come on now.
So as we begin to consider this, lightening the load of the existing staff, I know at some point
lighten their load.
Recent future, I saw a lot of vacancies across our organization, and that tends to create more stress on existing employees as well. And so I just want to make certain that we have a phased approach to this, and that we're taking care of each base. Because if we're looking at the same vacancy, I agree with you. But if we've increased our occupancy, we have capable people filling those roles, then that gives more of a comprehensive understanding of where we are in regards to what we're trying to accomplish.
Sure. Let me respond to that, Commissioner Jackson. So most of the vacancies are not on the executive level staffing. That's not where the vacancies are. Most of the vacancies are out in around central maintenance. Those big vacancies are also on the general maintenance side and in the public housing. So when you look at the staff, yes, in fact, we will send you an updated org chart because we've done a great job since I've been here in the last 4 months filling what the tag assessment said, right? That there were an unusual amount of vacancies. And so we have actually not just filled the vacancies with the senior staff, the executive team you've seen. We've actually done a pretty good job. If you look at real estate, we brought an asset manager. We brought in a real estate relocation team. On and on and on. So we actually have increased our staff, but we still have some more things to fill. But the big vacancies are outside of the executive team. But we will get you the updated org chart definitely.
I dare to underestimate your success, Stephen. I've seen what you're able to do, and I'm amazed, but I expected it as well. And so I'm not challenging that also. I just want a comprehensive understanding so I can have a tangible look and say, you know what, I can see where this is going to make sense.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you an org chart because we have to submit it, I think by Friday to HUD because we've made a lot of additions and they've requested, so we'll definitely get it to the board.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, thank you so much for all you've done so far. And Mike, anything you can do to streamline and update and make us a more functioning, I'm all for life without a meeting. But I know, having been an administrator, the stress it puts on staff pulling together a board, a meeting, and getting the information and updating the information from previous meetings, it can be a pain. And it can drain staff. But I do have concern about the amount of time it takes to get anything done. If you're talking about bringing something before the real estate committee, and we have concerns, and we have to address those concerns, we have to wait an additional 3 months before they come. I have a real concern. Some of the things that've been on the board on the table already. Calhoun Center, lots over in the south side, and some of the things that's taken years to get done and get out of the administration. So as we do this thing, as Commissioner Jackson is proposing, maybe we can phase that. I had gone to the governance committee, of which I am chair, that we go that quarterly because there's not enough on the governance committee need to meet on a monthly basis. That we can stack that, and if it's something that's important that we must bring, we can do it. But my big concern, time it takes to get something out of a committee through staff and back to the board, and if it's sent back, it can be almost a year before any decision gets made. So please, I just want to make sure we take that into consideration as how to do it, and everything may not happen. We may want to do a couple of things by monthly and continue some on as monthly, simply because we stay and interest rates and how long it takes things to get done and deals on the table, it's time sensitive. So I just want to stand into the mix for consideration of not everything needs to go quarterly, but maybe one or two, and not because I'm on that bill, that's important. We redevelop. So I just want to throw that in there.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mike, you want to respond to that? Then I have one quick one, Mr. Chair.
Well, again, I think this also in the opportunities we have in terms of looking at follow-up and reporting. If there are commitments made or things that need to be done, actually have the reporting that gets done to the updated reporting that gets done to the board to show what progress we've made on issues that are standing. Then commissioners will not need to be waiting for something, whatever months in the future, that they would actually have an update of whatever those issues are on a regular basis. I think we really do have an opportunity that was presented earlier, again, on those committees, if they're not meeting on a monthly basis, to have the kind of reporting on where things are, what commitments were made, and where are we fulfilling those commitments.
And Mr. Chair, one last thing I'd like to just say is that it's important in terms of, I appreciate what Commissioner Jackson said in terms of communication and getting communication. And, for me, I don't, it's like for me, I don't need to be in every meeting. I tell my staff. Did you remember to call Putin? If I'm getting a summary of what's going on, I'll see what's going on, and I'll say, I think we need to hold a meeting because what I read didn't make sense. What I read needed I don't need to be in every meeting, but I do want to say in terms of communication, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Harvey, one last thing. We need to make sure we have not only the accurate email of all of our board members, that our board members are, I have to say it, reading their emails. Now, why is that? Because our lovely head of communication, Miss Angela Fountain, says that she sends out things and she doesn't, hear a reaction to the board, or sometimes board members will ask questions and it comes out of some of the committees, Mr. Chairman, and then she says, well, I sent that. Now it's on the agenda and they're asking. So I would like, Mr. Chairman, for us to get the most not only accurate email from our board members, but that it's an email that board members are reading. I'll give you a good example. I'm going to give one example to close out. She sent out, and I'm going to let her speak, she sent out a great announcement.
Let me see what they had on the agenda.
It was about Section 3. And I want to know, raise a hand, of how many board members all of you, not the new ones, actually saw that great announcement that she sent out. Miss Fountain, do you want to talk about that announcement, the Section 3 announcement?
Mr. Nesmith, no. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Miss Fountain, but it's after 7 o'clock and we've got 4 resolutions in closed session. I want to talk about what we're talking about here.
No problem.
Respectfully.
I have one final question about
respectfully.
Mr. Kelly's suggestion, and this is just a procedural question. Would it require amendment to the bylaws? I see in Section 11 it versus standing committees. It doesn't dictate how often those standing committees are to meet. So is this something that each individual standing committee can determine the frequency with which they meet, or does it require?
A standing committee, yeah.
I almost sure it will not require an amendment to the bylaws. It's a board that you could adopt through a resolution that's flexible as well in terms of, as recommended, things getting phased in or other requirements as need be. So yeah, this is not something that would require any major structural change to the board's bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you, Commissioner Elliott. Any other questions from board members? This sounds like one that we're probably going to need to revisit at the next board meeting, potentially take it to the governance committee for them to consider rather than coming straight back to the board, because there does seem to be some concerns, and I have some thoughts as well, but I may ask Commissioner Johnson to take that up in the governance committee to really kind of kick it around and see what we want to do with that. So thank you for that presentation, Mr. Kelly. I really do appreciate the efforts to try and provide the staff with some more flexibility and get our committees functioning in an efficient way. Moving on, we have our committee updates, and again, I would like to kind of move through these quickly because I think the minutes for all of those have been sent out as well with the information for the board meeting. So we'll start with Real Estate Committee. See, Commissioner Johnson has stepped away. I don't know if Desi is there or Mr. Davis to give us an update on the Real Estate Committee.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, I'm back. Is Alicia still on? Yes, Ms. Garcia, would you please fill us in?
Yes, sir. Good evening, board members, guests, and staff. I will make this real quick. The Real Estate Committee met last week, and we provided an update on 400, which you all heard earlier this evening. We also discussed an amendment to the Richmond 300 plan that's being done in collaboration with the city and RRHA to include our communities in the master plan for the city. We also discussed Mr. Davis, our new Senior Vice President of Real Estate who joined our team in December. That is all I have to report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. My apologies for not acknowledging you as well. Any questions for Ms. Garcia or the Commissioner Johnson? Great. Moving on to Commissioner Blunt, if you don't mind, since we've got 4 resolutions from your committee, I'm going to move your committee last so that we can roll right into those resolutions. And I'm going to move over to the Property Management Committee and Commissioner Shelton and Ms. Green.
Oh, yes, I do. At 25th Street Market.
Hello, everyone.
Yep.
Kenyatta, are you available to give up the updates?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You're so wonderful.
I feel like Commissioner Hardiman wanted me to get it done, so because I talk more than Commissioner Blunt. So it's great, Commissioner Hardiman. But good evening, everyone again. The Property Management Committee met on Wednesday, January 11th at 9:30 a.m. During the meeting, we discussed some action items that we had from our November meeting that was related to repairs identified during RRHA and efforts that will make to provide all of our families with AC unit window vents in an effort to improve the curb appeal for the properties. We discussed the before mentioned lease enforcement efforts,
And there was an attempt to show a video prepared by our RHA's communications team related to the protocol to submit maintenance work orders. We wanted to really highlight that it's critical that our families ensure our maintenance issues are reported to not only make the necessary repairs, but to also hold RHA and staff accountable for these repairs. The video is being distributed to all of our residents and will be posted on social media just as a reminder. The Housing Choice Voucher Program provided an update related to the implementation of the ACV Homeownership Program, which will begin to receive and accept interest forms as of March 27th. We provided updates related to HVAC services and power outages throughout the communities, which included the 901 Administrative Building. And we also provided some additional information related to the Earned Income Disallowance Program, which encourages self-sufficiency by allowing families who have been out of work to begin work and exclude their income for up to 24 months one time as a public housing resident. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Ms. Green and Commissioner Shelton. We'll move on to our minority contracting and Section 3, Commissioner Parker. Maybe Mr. Walker, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I can give a brief synopsis. So the Minority Section 3 Committee met on January 9th, and a revised Section 3 plan was provided to the committee members to review and provide suggestions. There was a brief discussion of our definitions for MBE firms in our solicitations. And we also discussed future planning for implementation of a MBE participation plan. There was also a short discussion about our requirements for MBE and WBE participation in relation to upcoming bond financing projects. And there was also a brief discussion about our plans to coordinate some STEM activities. And that's the end of my report.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Now, Commissioner Blunt, since we have action items coming out of your committee, thank you for letting us roll right through that and into those action items. So I'll turn it over to you, Commissioner Blunt.
Thank you, Chair. We met last night, Tuesday, January 17th at 6 p.m. We had a quorum. The minutes from November 15th were adopted. There were no citizens' comments. No one was signed up for it. Shannon Sterling reported on our old business, which was the update on the closing out of the 2021 audit and the start of the 2022 unaudited submission, which the unaudited submission is in review at HUD. There were 4 inquiries on the update for the closeout for 2021. Is Shannon Sterling here tonight?
I am, Commissioner Blunt.
Okay. So as far as that, did I highlight it? Was there something else you needed to add to that part?
Nope. We received the 4 inquiries from the auditors, including the going over the MDA. So we're getting really close to closing out the 21.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon. And as far as new business, for the first quarter fiscal year 2023 financials, Shannon can give you the specifics on that. I did write down that we had a 1.9 million profit for housing. Go ahead, Shannon. You can take on the other particulars for that report.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, so we ended up providing, as everyone should have received, the first quarter for Richmond Housing. Provided you with a income statement and balance sheet. As Commissioner Blunt said, we had a 1.9 for the period. And then we also then broke out the RDC, and it had a slight loss, but we have some other entries that need to be updated, but we just wanted to be able to supply. That was in a second quarter because they each have a differing fiscal period. But overall, we're still doing very well.
Thank you, Shannon. As far as agency vacancies, there were 34 And I believe, from my understanding, that was for several months, and that for the Section 3 hire, there was one for the past month, but Priscilla Barty is here to explain that better, I believe. Are you there, Priscilla?
Good evening. Yes, ma'am, I'm here. So yes, for the Section 3, on the report, it was not reported with the current report that we received, but we made an offer on yesterday, and that made that one for the month of January. So that's why we had the one Section 3. So now for the fiscal year 2022, we have a total of 4.
And as far as the agency vacancies, that number of 34, is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you also partner with Virginia Career Works for the Section 3?
Yes. Yes. So we have 2 applicants that we are looking to bring on. Sir, did you want to speak to that, or do you want me to speak to that? With the Virginia Career Works?
I think you should go ahead and speak to that. I think that's a dynamic opportunity, but why don't you go ahead and speak to it?
So basically, we have partnered with Virginia Career Works. We have a program where we have they have an internship program that we can bring on a person. We can bring someone onto the agency for the first 3 months, and they will pay the entire salary for that person for the first 3 months, and then once they come, after they come on the first 3 months, we can bring them on in the OJT status, which is on the job training, and we can keep them up to 6 months. So once they come on to an OJT status, we will have to in turn hire them on as a permanent employee, and then they will reimburse us for the salary rate for that person.
Everybody fit on one
so
screen.
I think that's a great opportunity for the vision that Mr. Nesmith is bringing on
for a little
with the whole job security.
And who would be doing that
I don't want to miss something, like something might happen.
The Virginia Career Works, which is the Workforce Development Program.
Let me see, where is the agenda?
Does someone have a question about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize on that. This is part of the announcement maybe in March about the pact of hope, jobs, and security. We were going to include this opportunity in that announcement, but we decided, why wait? Let's get these folks to work right away. Particularly, these are public housing residents that we're hiring. That's what's neat about it. I'm just thrilled about it, actually. And I'm sure this fits into our Section 3 stuff, but this is just great, Mr. Chairman, that we're finding opportunities for public housing residents. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about it too. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
The IT updates were sent to us in a package. Jackie, did you want to speak to that?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Only if you have questions pertaining to the information that was emailed prior to the meeting.
I wasn't sure if everybody who was attending had received the package that we received.
Oh man, this shit might be like another half hour.
I'm pretty sure that they sent
they
out
haven't even talked about
the board packet.
They have not even talked about
you.
it.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Jackie? That being said, we will go on to the procurement reporting from Art Walker. There were 4 resolutions.
Watch, hold on, let me see. Oh no, that's
Art,
not
we'll
what I
let
was
you get
trying
to
to
that.
do. I was trying to change the window.
Thank you, Commissioner Blunt. So in the interest of time, I'll do a really brief synopsis of all 4 of those resolutions, and then if there are questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Resolution number 1 is for approval to execute a contract modification with RMT Construction and Development for fire damage repairs at Fairfield Court. We were repairing
my bad.
4 units that were damaged by fire at Fairfield Court. We awarded the contract in June of 2022, and after the contract was awarded, there was break-in and some vandalism at those units. And this change will allow us to repair the damaged units, as well as make a slight change to the type of doors that are used in those units. So at this time, we're requesting the board to approve this contract modification in the amount of $105,321.42. For resolution number 2, we're requesting approval to execute a contract with
they're gonna do them all quick like that.
For underground heating and domestic hot water
They're
pipe
not gonna vote on
replacement
them
at
each.
Fairfield Court.
So
This is a large capital improvement project where we are replacing the underground piping lines throughout Fairfield Court. We did issue a bid in November of 2022 for this work, and we received one bid on January 3rd, 2023. The bid was reviewed by the capital improvement staff, and it's been deemed to be a reasonable bid for us. And at this time, we're requesting approval of this contract in the amount of $598,642.23.
Look, this other one gonna be like $2 million.
Resolution number 3 is for ratification of contract modification number 4 for a contract with RRHA Construction and Development for installation of underground piping at Gilpin Court. This is a multi-year project that was coming to an end at Gilpin in the fall. And as the project was concluding,
they had a few different increases.
we ran into
they experienced substantial increase
underground
in costs,
utility issues that were not on the plans, and it required some additional excavation and some rerouting of some of the piping.
Kept on getting an increase.
Since we discovered this right as heating season was approaching, we declared an emergency to direct the contractor to complete the revised work.
So they better have
so
some
at this
heat.
point, we're asking for the board to ratify our emergency action in the amount of $221,512.26.
Huh?
And resolution number 4, the last resolution is approval to increase a contract with AKF Group LLC for architectural and engineering services.
He said something on it.
AKF is one of a panel of architects
we must be reading it wrong.
Have under contract, and we tasked them with a variety of architectural or engineering tasks.
What is it?
AKF has primarily been tasked with
$250,000
HVAC work for us.
No, he didn't say that.
And
no, this the different. This the one you're talking about right now.
Cap to their contract, but we do have some additional needs for HVAC work. So, in order to task this additional work, we're asking
that's
for
what he
the
said,
board to
25,000
increase.
No, this one said $221,000.
Is the synopsis for all 4 resolutions?
Just said 250. Oh, okay. It was like the total.
All together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Walker, and thank you, Commissioner Blunt, for your committee report. Are there any questions on the 4 resolutions, the 4 contracts?
Mayor, I have a question with respect to resolution 1.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Commissioner Elliott.
After we finish that question, there's another part to the report underneath it.
Huh?
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Blunt.
All right. He said he got
go ahead,
this one.
Thank you. My question was just with respect to resolution number 1. What was the nature of the vandalism that occurred?
Vandalism.
I believe there was copper piping stolen from the walls above the units, in between the units. It was quite extensive. So
because they had the vacant, the units vacant.
Large change.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Blunt, I'm sorry, I didn't realize your report was not finished. Please go ahead.
Okay, and the last part, Art, was about the MBE, WBE, and Section 3 reporting, and the amount that was set and the amount that we exceeded. Could you please report on that?
What is she talking about?
Thank you.
Certainly. So we do have goals for our expenditures with MBE companies, WBE companies, and Section 3 companies, and we did exceed our goals for each of those.
How did we get to the resolutions if she's saying before one thing?
They skip it.
No, I don't. That was weird.
For MBE payments, our goal is 30% of our expenditures, and we're currently for the fiscal year at 38.7%. For WBE payments, our goal is 10%. We're currently at 14.39%. And for our payments to Section 3 companies, our goal is 10%. We're currently at 12.2%.
Thank you. Are there any questions about that?
About what? What is she talking about?
Okay, well, that concludes our report, Chairman.
Yeah, now they gotta go
Well, I
back to the
appreciate that.
resolution.
Were there any other questions about the 4 resolutions that are before us? Without objection, I'd like to take those in a block so we can get those. They did come out of the committee unanimously, and since they are recommended by the committee, they don't need a second. There was good discussion in the committee on those. Unless there are
I don't know about good discussion. It was a little discussion.
And call the roll.
Commissioner Blunt?
It was enough, I guess.
Aye.
It was adequate.
Commissioner Elliott?
I guess that's good.
Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Commissioner Parker?
Aye.
Commissioner Pitchford?
See, I want to be able to switch
And Commissioner
to
Shelton?
the other.
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
Without
Vote is
ending it, I want
unanimous.
to be able to.
Resolutions have passed. Approved.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Webb. Thank you all. And again, I apologize for being late to the meeting. We've reached the point in our meeting.
But let it just stay open
If they have any general comments or things they'd like to bring up, things they'd like the board to address or committees to address in future meetings, is there anything from any of our commissioners this evening?
Yes, Commissioner, if I have permission to speak.
Yes, Commissioner Pitchford, go ahead.
I would like I don't want any comment on it, but in a future meeting to explain the family succession, because I think that an email was sent out that we got some money. If we could have a report on that and who is the new family sufficient person, and just a general report on that. If we can get that done, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pitchford. I think Ms. Green gave us a good report on that during the property management, so I'm sure she's got information that she can share with us on that. So thank you, Commissioner Pitchford, for that question. Anyone else this evening?
Yes, Commissioner Hardeman.
Commissioner Parker.
I just want to say I apologize for my technical difficulty a little while ago. I'm sorry about that, but I understand that Art went on and he did a wonderful job, so I appreciate, following him with that. But I just want to apologize for that.
No apologies necessary. That's the way technology works. Thank you, Commissioner Parker.
Don't you pay it to run off?
You can
right,
too.
I do believe we have
you can
a closed session that we need to go into. Is that still the case, Mr. Nesmith?
I mean, they gonna tell you to mail it if you go in.
Yes,
that's what they're gonna say.
All right, thank you. It is not anticipated
if you can't go to the stores every day, you gotta mail.
Just want to let the public know that.
With the rent statement that she got to send it to the address on the rent statement. It's gonna take a while to show up in the system.
Yes, that is correct. So I recommend that the board goes into a closed meeting to discuss plans to protect public safety as it relates to a specific cybersecurity threat for staff members and a law enforcement official concerning actions taken to respond to such matters as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711 A19 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
Thank you, Ms. Webb. Is there a motion to that effect?
Somebody gotta hold the keys.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we go into closed session pursuant to the statement that Ms. Webb wrote. Ms. Webb, could you call the roll for us, please?
I didn't even hear what you were talking about.
Commissioner Blunt?
Aye.
Commissioner Elliott?
Aye.
Commissioner Hardeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
right?
Man, I'm not staying here till after the
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Commissioner Parker?
Well, I'm gonna be out.
Commissioner Pritchard?
All you people watching from
Aye.
home.
Commissioner Shelton?
Because I'm not about to stay on here. I
unanimous
normally
vote,
would
motion's carried.
if they was going over something
Thank you, Ms.
real
Webb.
important.
We could go ahead and
they're
have
not.
everyone
So,
who is not supposed to be in closed session
night.
leave the meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight, and then
he basically can.
All right, y'all. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hold on, can I make myself see? How do I do? Hold on. Oh, is it me? Hold on. Oh, it is me. Oh, I look terrible. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining us.